going on, everyone? Hello, hello, hello. How are you all doing out there? Thank you so much for tuning in to another great epic episode of Just My Opinion Reviews, spoiler style. Guys, we are talking the Marvels. Yes, the 33rd film in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There has been so much speculation going on about this film since the past year, whether it's going to be good, whether it's going to be bad, whether it's going to launch, in the MCU into the next millennia or be just a dumpster fire and the end of their reign after all these years. If you did not know, this is going to be a spoiler-filled recap, okay? We are going to spoil this movie up, down, left, right, in, and out as if you've already seen it. That is your warning. And as you see, I'm not by myself. I got part of the original crew here. I got Eman with Eman's movie reviews up there on the top right. How you doing, sir?
What up? What up?
And also Elliot with movie files down there at the bottom. How are you, sir?
Good, man. We get, they had their trio, right? Kamala, Carol, and Monica. We got our little trio here. So yeah,
Yes.
good to be back. Good to be back.
I love it, man. Like right before we hit record, I was like, oh, the last time we did this was in May, and Guardians 3. I was like, no, we did Spider-Man. And so if you did not know, guys, we do this from time to time when it comes to the big superhero movies and things of that nature. So if that is your cup of tea, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, okay? Help me reach that next giant milestone. As well as these gentlemen right here, they are on my channel tab on that top row right there. We got E-Man's channel right here. Help him get to 150K, and Elliot is on his way to 100K. We will really all appreciate your help. Of course, you can follow all of us on social media. Our handles are on the screen, and their information is in the description box of this video. But guys, let's go ahead and get into this film right here. Full spoilers ahead. Now, film is out right now. This has been speculated that possibly will be part of the, one of the worst movies in the MCU for the past year. The press has been horrible. On top of that, with the writers and actor strike, the cast and crew couldn't promote the film as well, and that's going to go into the budget that ballooned all the way up to $270 million, which is not the most expensive film in the MCU because we do have those Avengers films and things like that, but this is high for a sequel or kind of a solo. This is somewhat of an ensemble. They did get that credit of 50 million, because they filmed in a certain location, but just news around this was not the best. Nobody really liked the first Captain Marvel movie that came out in 2019, but it made a hell of a lot of money at the box office, 1.1 billion. We all know that's because it was between Infinity War and Endgame, but the hopes were just not high for this film. But after seeing it, and by the time you see this, I already have I think we all have our non-spoiler reviews up, whether that's video, written form, or fresh out of the theater reactions. But I'll go ahead and give my breakdown of the film real quick. My expectations for this was very, very low. And while I didn't think it was going to be the worst thing in the world, I knew it wasn't going to be the best. But going in, all I wanted it to be really was better than the Captain Marvel film that came out in 2019. And that's not a high bar. And I'm glad to say that it was. There was a lot of things that really frustrated me to where I got upset in my mood change in that 2019 film, especially in the third act. Like, why are you doing this? I remember I was severely pissed off with the reveal of Nick Fury getting his damaged eye, having to wear a patch from a flirkin. I mean, it was just a number of stupid things like that. But I did enjoy the Marvels film, this sequel to 2019. I did have fun with it. Of course, it had its number of hiccups that we're going to talk about, but I thought it was better than the 2019 film. I enjoyed this better than Thor, Love and Thunder. I enjoyed it better than Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Didn't enjoy it better than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Out of the three main leads, they were the best. Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and Monica Rambeau. I love them as a group. I love them individually. And for the most part, the fighting was a lot of fun. I did have, I had a good time with that. I think we may all agree the story and the villain were the worst. And I don't know what Nick Fury we're getting. It's kind of like a roll of the dice with each MCU film and television show. But overall, I walked out of this film satisfied and just not disappointed. And so that's how I felt about it. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty. I just wanted to drop that real quick. But Eman, how'd you feel about this overall? Your expectations, or however you want to deliver it. Where were you at, sir?
I mean, I went into this with low expectations as well. Yeah, I definitely thought that it was going to be at least better than the first Captain Marvel movie, but again, like you said, very low bar. But I do think it managed to do that successfully. I had already seen a lot of red flags early on, and that was from comments from the director, Nia DaCosta. That was from just different factors, like you don't have the external factors helping this movie. As you mentioned, you had the whole end game effect where there was so much hype outside of the movie that it kind of raised up the hype for the first Captain Marvel. You didn't have that here. Matter of fact, you might have had the complete opposite, because phase 4 left a lot of people with the bad taste in their mouth for Marvel, and phase 5 didn't really leave people with, the most hope. People are starting to have trust issues now with Marvel. And yes, Guardians was good, but it's not enough, because we just got off of Ant-Man and Thor, and those kind of messed us up. And once the director started talking about, oh, this is going to be wacky and silly, I was like, wait a minute. Like, we already seen wacky and silly not work, and now you want to give us more? So going into the film, I was already kind of cautious about all that. And there were some things that it did well, that I did enjoy, but my goodness, there were so many things that messed up the story. I thought on paper there were a lot of things that could have worked, but it just did not come together the way that I think that they were hoping for. But no, I don't think it's like the worst movie in the MCU by far. It is towards the bottom, but the redeeming qualities, and I think we'll talk about this a little bit later, it depends on who you're talking to. And that's the thing that I think people need to kind of keep in mind. So like, while this movie might not work for you, it is going to work for other people and other demographics. So you're gonna have to pick and choose what battle you want to fight, in that case. But it was I give you that. It was but it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag.
Okay. Thank you for that, E-Man. I do appreciate it. Elliot, where you at, sir? Your general impressions, expectations, or however you want to drop it. How are you feeling?
Very similar to what E-Man was just saying in regards to expectations going into the film were, to me, my expectations were adjusted based on certain comments by the director, wacky, silly. So I kind of like, okay, let me switch my expectation levels and go into this film kind of knowing that it's going to not be hitting on certain notes that I like from my Marvel films or comic book films in general. But at the same time, we're at the point now where we're 15 years into the MCU, and they're almost, they're carving out their own lane as far as media and world building that we've never seen on this level before. So much so that it's kind of getting in the conversation of like, when you read comic book runs, that not every run's going to work, not every solo character outing or solo mission is going to work for you. But then every couple years or so, or every other project, you might get whipped back or grabbed back in. So I think that's where Marvel's at right now. And this film, to me, kind of falls in that middle lane where I knew what I was kind of getting into, and I was able to adjust my kind of expectations and not making excuses for the film, because there are some bad things, narratively speaking, performance speaking. But collectively, I walked out pretty satisfied, knowing what I was walking into. It didn't exceed my expectations. It didn't go below it. It just was. Sometimes I think we forget that sometimes films should just be fine. Nothing like the nuance of like being terrible to being a masterpiece has been like completely diminished in the last like 4 or 5 years in the film community. So sometimes when you do have a film that's just kind of middle of the road, some people don't see that. They just see, oh, if it wasn't a masterpiece and it's just terrible, which I don't think this film is nowhere near terrible, but I also don't think it's that masterpiece. I think it's like right in the middle. It's a fine film with its issues. It works on some levels. It doesn't work on other levels. But at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I had fun with the film, which I know the F word in the comic book realm movies are used a lot, but I ultimately did have fun with this film. And I would much more prefer to watch this over some of those films that Brandon mentioned earlier, Love and Thunder, Quantumania, and some of the other shows that we've gotten in the last few years. I would definitely watch this before I would watch those.
Right on. Right on.
Elliot, like just to your point about like people having that high expectation, that's Marvel's fault. Like at this point, Marvel is their own competition.
Yeah,
It's like watching, an athlete in their prime and LeBron James or something, and then he only scores 20 points.
Right,
Like,
right.
why didn't you score 40? We know you could score 40, so yeah, they're in competition with themselves. So, that is something that is pretty unique if we kind of take a step back and really look at how we're evaluating these films and approaching them.
True.
Right on. And I'm gonna stay on you, Elliot, but I'm gonna bring in a point that Eman made in his intro, speaking about it's not a terrible movie, but there were completely things that they messed up with the story and the direction. Now, when we do these spoiler reviews, usually I have no idea how anybody feels before we hit record. I mean, I will watch you guys review or let it play afterwards at the very least, because I want to be surprised. That's not the case this time. I was able to check out, well, both of y'all's out of theater reactions, and Elliot, I checked out your review. I agree with you for the most part, but there was one aspect to where I think we disagree on entirely. And that has to do with the story. When the Skrulls popped up in this film, I was like, oh, we have more Skrulls. Now, I really didn't enjoy the ending, their conclusion, and this Disney Plus show right here, Secret Invasion. But I had to remember this is a large race of people. They're across the galaxy and or universe. And it was nice to see them, as well as the Kree. Why did you feel that they were? And I don't know if anybody saw your review, but you were pretty disappointed. Or you was just like, you want to vomit. And so when I saw you said it, I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay, I can't wait to chop it up with them later on.
Yeah.
So where are you at on that? Did you think that it messed up the story, or I'm curious. I couldn't wait to ask you that.
It's the execution of the Kree and the Skrull that has been completely mishandled to me. Like, I can appreciate them doing something different. Like, traditionally speaking, comic books, Skrulls are normally kind of the bad guys of the situation. Of course, you have some good Skrulls every now and then, but they've obviously kind of switched that with the first Captain Marvel film. But from that film to the Fake Out and Far From Home to what we got in Secret Invasion and now into this one, they seem just completely helpless. They don't have any leadership. They don't know. They can't find a planet. They don't know when they do have a planet. They don't have any self-defense to protect themselves. They're completely useless characters to me at this point in the MCU. And then bring that over to the Kree. They keep hyping up the Kree and Skrull wars and all that. We haven't seen a lick of that. And all the Krees we have seen, Ronan, and then now with this film with Darben, are just washed. So to me, it's just a balance of like, none of them are, well, besides Gaia now, she's the ultimate Skrull being in the whole MCU universe, which is another reason is just another mishandled character. But I'm just so tired of this Kree and Skrulls and how they've been handled, because there's jokes to me. Like I said, they're either super defenseless and can't do anything for themselves, or they're just bad people just to be mean and be upset and want to take over the world. It's just poorly handled. So yes, I am tired of the Kree. I am tired of the Skrulls. They need to just redo them, introduce another species, switch it around, make the Skrulls bad this time, and make the Kree good. It's been handled terribly to me. I am so tired of both of those species in the MCU.
This boy is passionate, man. I can't hold back. You make good points. I can't argue with that. I was happy because I'm like, okay, we get more development. They're not just forgotten. I want to see more, because if you don't know, the Kree Skrull war is pretty dope. But yeah, they had a civil war that we didn't see. I heard
talking about it.
Point, like the first Captain Marvel movie happened in the 90s.
Yeah.
This midday, she didn't have missions for 20, 30 years, and we haven't seen any of it. So I got you, man. Eman, where are you at on the Kree and the Skrulls, and if any at all? And you can add on however you like, but where are you at as far as that's concerned?
Man, y'all racist, man. Y'all just getting on these different No, I'm just playing. So here's the thing. I didn't have as much of an issue with the Skrulls just because we had Secret Invasion. Yes, Secret Invasion has its issues, but it did actually give us a different side of the Skrulls. So, like it or not, we do have some level of depth with them. We've had Talos and all of them in the first movie with Captain Marvel. Then we had, the whole different faction, of the Krees trying to do their thing. So, because of the first movie and then because of this secret invasion, we were able to see that, hey, all Skrulls are not the same, and there are different factions. Okay, fine, whatever, right? I did not care about Skrulls in this movie whatsoever. My bigger issue, if we're going to be racist here, was mainly with the Kree, because I was sitting here thinking, like, wait a minute, and we'll talk about the villain soon. You're trying to give this villain, who is a Kree, this complex motivation, which is you're trying to save your planet because Carol went all ape crap on you guys and destroyed the supreme intelligence and all that.
I didn't like that.
Why do I need to care? Why do I need to care about the Kree when all this time all you've shown us is the Kree dominating other countries, other planets, dominating other species, and I'm sitting here like, good.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like, what? I'm supposed to feel bad for y'all?
Exactly.
No. So for me, I was sitting here thinking, like, if the motivation from the director, if she wanted us to really feel and have a level of empathy for the Kree because their resources are going bad, I'm like, y'all missed that boat then, because you should have given us maybe another Disney Plus series where we get more of the Kree, maybe something else where we're seeing Carol maybe develop a little bit more. Maybe we should have seen her as the bad guy a little bit more, because when they sat here and tried to say, like, oh, you're the Annihilator, I was like, yeah, did y'all forget what y'all did to her? Did y'all forget what y'all did to everybody else? Like, yeah, she'd be the yes, so for me, I was just like, if that's what y'all was going for, to try and make us feel empathetic about that, like, nah, that was a miss. So for my thing, it was just like, and this is kind of the issue I have with the narrative. My biggest issue is the editing. The editing is the biggest problem here. I don't think it's a problem with the writing. I think it's in how the story was developed and how it was presented, because it kind of gave us information in pieces, but the payoff didn't match the journey, if that makes sense. Like, when you talk about the Skrulls, it's fine because we've literally had a movie and a TV series to kind of get to know them. But you're just trying to jump the gun and hurry up and tell us, oh, by the way, the Kree are suffering. I don't care, because it wasn't earned to get there. So that was my issue with them in that case. It just it felt premature, undercooked, and half-baked. And I think that's yet another reason why the villain didn't work as well.
I got you, man. The villain did not work at all, and we could see that a million miles away. I remember saying that in one of my shows or in the trailer reactions that this looks pretty decent, but the villain, who happens to be, what is it? Is it Zoe Ashton or Austin? She happens to be the wife of Tom Hiddleston. And that's news to me. But man, I don't mean to crap on the sister, but it just was not good at all. It was awful. I don't know why Flirkin is popping up. It was just awful. And I don't understand, I mean, I thought, to be honest with you, I kind of thought it was cool towards the end where she says that after Ronan fell, that a bunch of heretics tried to come in and fill the power vacuum, and it was chaos and caused a civil war. And that was cool. I wish it was a bit more fleshed out, but why do I keep clicking that? I wasn't feeling this. I kind of want to know, I don't know why some of them are pale skin, some are blue. I wish that was fleshed out. I don't know where she got the universal weapon again. Her henchman right here, the white guy in the back, I thought he was a joke as well. There was just no threat from the character at all. And her motivations were confusing to me. I just don't understand how you can have three main leads to do such a great job, but drop the bar so much when it comes to her. But she was possibly the worst aspect of the film, in my opinion. Elliot, how did you feel about the villain? And,
I mean, Darwin
or whatever it was.
Yeah, Darwin is up there with me with Whiplash and the Dark Elves villain, and just bad villain. They could have did a better job if she was Ronan's apprentice or hell daughter or something of that nature. And even like from the beginning of the film, she finds the quantum band. Like they feel like it was a missing scene. I know there's the hour and 45. I'm fine with like films going by quick because we be getting these 2.5, 3 hour films. Sometimes I like a good hour and a half in and out, but we missed a scene. To Eman and your points, Brand, they should open it maybe with her seeing Ronan dying in the first Guardians and how that affected, and of course the Annihilator and all that tension building up to her to making her want to come to this mission. They should have had that scene as well as having her I don't even know how she found the quantum band. That's just completely random how we open a movie with them finding something. I know we do that with movies all the time. I guess it's like a nitpick to me. I always want to know like how did they come about finding this artifact? But anyway, she gets it, and in the rest of the film, it makes sense what she's trying to do, getting the resources because her planet's dying, but then to make it that more dark and sinister way of like, well, I'm going to only go to planets that Captain Marvel calls home. It's just like, we were just meeting you. You're not a villain from the first one. You're just literally coming out of the blue. All of her motives, all of the stuff that guided her to become what she did. And when she died at the end, it was pointless. She is a quintessential placeholder of a villain. You could have inserted anyone in that role. Hell, you could have took her out and just had like just a cosmic interference with incursions, and we know the multiverse. You could have just did something completely different and completely took her out because she was pointless. She's literally a pointless villain with no purpose.
Eman, how'd you feel about Zarbin or Zarbin?
Same. I don't actually have an issue with the actress. I thought she did fine with the material she was given. But that's why I was saying like the execution for her is just what didn't work. I mean, like Elliot said, they literally just dropped her in the middle of all this. And we supposed to just like, I mean, whenever you're dealing with villains, you're supposed to feel something. I felt nothing with her or for her because I'm like, who new villain? Who this? Like what am I supposed to do with this? Like you don't seem like a real threat. You don't seem like someone that your motivations seem villainy enough, and yeah, I mean, this beef that you have with Captain Marvel, I mean, it was literally shown to us in what, 20 seconds? If that.
Yeah.
Just because she can't, I mean, it's like, where am I supposed to see the justification in any of it? So yeah, it's just she's a victim of bad editing and maybe bad direction. But yeah, this is the Marvel villain problem all over again.
Yeah. Oh, and that's what you be. But here's an idea. Marvel, not Marvel, but was it Marvel? Jude Law's character,
Jan Rog.
Jan, where was he? Why don't you just have maybe him be the villain? It's been 20 years since he's seen Cap. Where was he during this whole film?
That would have made more sense.
That would have made a lot more sense.
At least we're familiar with him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at it, man. I ain't mad at it. Eman, something that you mentioned a second ago, and I really wanted to ask you this, and I got a reaction from one of y'all when it came up, is the Supreme Intelligence. I don't like, well, before I say that, did Carol defeat the Supreme Intelligence? Like, did she kill it?
Yeah, she wrapped it up
in the first film, like all the way. I can't. She blew it up.
She destroyed the manifestation of Annette Bedding's, like the shell that she was in, but then they showed us in this film like she actually went to the source in the Kree and like completely wiped it out. So
I was so disappointed with that. Like,
why
are you killing it off screen like this? This is the Supreme Intelligence. And I'm not even no super duper expert like that. This just can like in 1979 and defeated this and comic, but I still know that the Supreme Intelligence is the Supreme Intelligence. And so for you to kill it or the AI off screen like that, I didn't like it at all. I don't like when I mean, I was fine with the Tony Stark and the Captain America death in Endgame or even Black Widow. But all these other villains, like even Crossbones or whatever other villains in the MCU that have died, I don't like that they just keep killing them like this. Some can be okay, but I was just really disappointed with that right there. And I knew I wanted to talk about it. Did that piss y'all off or you really didn't care?
I mean, the way they introduced the Supreme Intelligence was very much so like how they're handling MODOK and certain these other characters that do have a little bit more meat to the bone. I didn't really, I mean, at this point, the way they, made an interpretation of character, I didn't really care for it anyway. So,
nope. I mean, I can't, if I can't connect with a villain, not to say that I need to side with them, because you can understand them, you can fear them, you can be like, oh man, like they're gonna be a problem for the hero. And I didn't feel nothing for them. So if you're gonna kill them, I'm like, oh well, you know, if he dies, they die, you know.
Okay. And you guys let us know what you thought about that. The Kree, the Skrulls, Zarbin, her goals, motivations, and also the Supreme Intelligence. If you couldn't tell already, we gave our initial thoughts. Now we're kind of getting the bad out of the way. And then we're going to transition over to the good and then talk about the mid-credit scene towards the
Because
end.
I still have more bad.
Oh, no. We're not done with the bad.
Oh, okay.
I still got some.
The
next is, oh yeah, we got a few things to talk about. A few. Elliot, you've talked about this before, just in other IPs. What in the world? I know we agree on this. What in the world was going on with the power scaling in this film? I felt it was all over the place and it bugged the hell out of me. I don't understand how. I mean, it made sense a little bit that the bands can take the power away from Captain Marvel. I bought it. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And I was happy with it initially because I think we all agreed that Captain Marvel is overpowered. And so if by the end of this, she's like, oh my God, we defeated the bad guy, but I'm not as powerful as I was a few years ago, I would have been like, yes, great job. But I still felt the power scaling was all over the place when it came to this movie. Just sometimes, I mean, she's still strong as hell. But then the Zarbin is able to like backfist her with the universal weapon and Photon or Monica Rambeau at the same time, knocking them, across the mountains. And it's just it was a bit inconsistent to me. Do you agree, sir, or do you disagree? Because that was a big foul in my
I mean, it didn't bother me as much as it did in some other Marvel projects with the power scalings that are completely not even existent. But I just interpreted it as the quantum bands weren't taking it; it was just absorbing the energy, the light powers from Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and whenever they would use it on her, she would just push it back at them. So I was okay with that because she didn't completely annihilate them; she just temporarily hurt them from the blows that she took. She just brought it back to them, so it didn't bother me as much. But of course, when you have someone as a Captain Marvel, there is no kryptonite, there is no really anything that the MCU has established that can affect her besides herself. She's Maverick. She goes in blood. One of my favorite quotes ever in the MCU. Captain America says to Tony, "Where's our plan of attack?" So she's always that's her worst villain is herself. Is she doesn't really have much of a game plan, and she's also not much of a team player. But by the end of the film, she definitely has that kind of after in game and now they're kind of building her to become a leader in the MCU, to be leading the Avengers. So yeah, the power scaling wasn't a huge issue to me, but I do wish that the quantum bands are dangerous weapons, and they are something that I don't know if it's going to be continue on with Secret Wars, Kane Dynasty, but those are some very powerful bands that can transport you to different endpoints, to different time periods that we saw in Miss Marvel's show, and obviously in this one. So that's the only thing that really I took away from this, from a power scaling level, is like we need to focus on those quantum bands and make sure that they're in the right hands, because they are that, and the 10 rings is some artifacts around the MCU that I'm really excited to see what they do with it. Right now, it's like a little inconsistent, a little shaky, but quantum bands ain't no joke.
Well, when it comes to all these power bands and power stones and infinity stones, it's a lot of MacGuffins, and I don't mind them, but I just want them to be explained and fleshed out a bit more. I don't think, we got a brief line of dialogue, like, okay, both of the quantum bands in this film were used together to create the jump points around the galaxy and the universe. That's cool. I still wanted them to go a bit further. But when I hear stuff like that, also I'm thinking to myself, well, if he can do that, like how different is it from not the power stone, but the space stone, from the other, because that was able to transport you to different points of the movie. Maybe it's just my lack of understanding. And also, one of the reasons why I brought up this scene right here, I like this scene overall, but again, it's Captain Marvel punching a bunch of henchmen. It's just like, why are they still alive and moving? You can destroy Thanos' ship, by flying through it, but you're, like, these bad guys keep getting beat up in this house right here when it should have been one hit a quitter. That's just the way I looked at it. But E-Man, what side do you lay on, man? I was annoyed with the power scaling. Elliot is not that much, and we got the power bands and all that. Like, how did you feel about all that?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't annoy me. I mean, I was number one in terms of cheering for depowering Captain Marvel because it's that is always been something that frustrated me because I'm like, I don't care what hero it is, even Superman. If somebody is so overpowered that they can't be challenged, what's the point? You know, and at this point, Carol's only weakness is that she can't be everywhere at one time. Like that's literally the only thing that makes her feel sad or makes her feel anything is that she couldn't be there for Monica. She couldn't be there for the Skrulls. She couldn't do this. She couldn't like, you know, that's literally it is that she can't be everywhere. So, but when they brought in this whole Bangle thing, and I agree with Elliot's assessment here that all it does is just kind of like absorb the power for now and then maybe it just redirects it or whatever. But even to that scene that you're referring to, I just took that as part of the whatever this quantum entanglement thing was going on. Like she just couldn't use her powers. Like if she really used her powers, she would swap and switch. So she probably had to pull her punches or whatever. So you know, actually, that was one of the things I enjoyed. I enjoyed the whole power swapping thing because again, it introduced a challenge that all the characters had to figure out and overcome. And I'm here for that. I'm here for my heroes coming across some issue that they have to overcome. So that to me was actually more of a positive. Now, I will say one thing that did kind of get me a little curious was when that universal hammer or whatever, when she was swinging it, knocking Captain Marvel left and right. But then when she's swinging towards Kamala, she's just blocking it like this. I'm like, wait a minute now. I know you can do your little light shield, but physics, like gravity, like how are you just blocking this big old hammer with just your little arm? And you're like, that didn't add up. But
yeah, exactly.
I didn't, you know, I just was like, whatever, comics, you know.
It was a majority of it. I say 90-95% of it was choreographed well, except for one punch by Monica. I may bring up later. I was like, well, that was bad, but it was choreographed well. But like you just said, man, just sometimes those inconsistencies was like, wait a minute, like how is this person able to shoot this and block this and take this blow and make this blow, and but then they couldn't do it here. It just really wasn't ironed out all the way in certain scenes. I'll have to probably watch it again to pinpoint that exactly. May do it at a later time, but you know.
And by the way, when the hell did Kamala become like a dang on gymnast,
martial arts expert? Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand you might train here and there, but like, you jumping off of walls like you a whole ninja. Like, when did this happen?
Yeah, we have to remember this literally is like within the same time period that Miss Marvel ended. So there's no gap of like, let me train with Nick Fury, let me train with Kate Bishop. We'll talk about later. So there's a the hero came out. That's it's comics, like you said, it's comics.
And even in Ms. Marvel, I love the fact that yes, you have to learn how to use your powers. I'm with that. Let me learn how to do them steps. Let me learn how to use the big fist. I'm fine with that. When you start jumping off of walls, doing 360s in the air,
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember that group that they introduced in the Marvels, the Dagger Society. Yeah, like I think there was like a small training montage when they were waiting for something. The guy that ended up dying like taught her some moves that I can't recall a lot of that.
Aerobics like that, they ain't do all that.
Yeah, that's true.
I know what you're talking about. I know with the ninja, the scars, people.
They give her a little bit of, you know, left foot, right foot, wax on, wax off type of training.
I got you.
That reminded me of Captain America when he started doing all them twisty twirls in Age of Ultron. I was like, bro, when you start doing all these?
Oh, Cap's always in the gym. Even he's always in the gym. Like,
I mean, he is. But I'm just saying, he was really going out there doing his little pirouettes and everything. Anyway,
before I forget, because I didn't even think about that, how close this movie was to Miss Marvel, the Disney Plus show. But is it safe to say that this movie took place before the events of Secret Invasion? Which I don't know.
No, they happened after. Yeah,
really?
Nick Fury went up into space. He was like, we got to go to that Kree treaty thing. So yeah, it's right in the same vicinity.
Right after that. And that's
Oh my God, that makes
reason.
me feel even worse about it because I mean he was up in space before Secret Invasion started.
Let me tell you something. This movie makes Secret Invasion even less pointless to me because it really doesn't even. Secret Invasion has no purpose to me at this point.
That was
I wouldn't land on that, but this movie to me ruined whatever development we got with Nick Fury. Because now I'm sitting there, I'm like, look, is this the same Nick Fury?
My next question,
last time in Secret Invasion, we talking about a dude that had PTSD, was like literally shocked that Skrulls are all over Earth, and he's going back up in the planet, in the space thing or whatever to deal with everything. And now he over here cracking jokes.
And now his wife's nowhere to be found, by the way, who went up to space with him.
Yeah.
Timing's all off.
Yeah. And Secret Invasion, he was like, I'm Nick Fury. Even when I'm out, I'm in. And we didn't get that type of swag at all in this film.
You can clearly, this was clearly shot before Secret Invasion. Like all the character stuff in this had no influence on Secret Invasion and vice versa.
That's not good, man. That's I have my notes from when I did my non-spoiler review of the bad page, and Nick Fury was on it. So that's unfortunate. Elliot, passing it to you. What is just you're really passionate about that we haven't talked about yet that you just like, man, this really grind my gears, or if anything at all, but like what is something that you're just kind of
I mean, the Nick Fury stuff, I do feel like he's not at the Hulk levels of disrespect quite yet, but he's getting there because it's more or less, and I love Sam Jackson, man, one of the greatest of all time, but he's becoming more of Sam Jackson and less of Nick Fury. Because to me, Nick Fury has become more of just the jokes. He's not 10 steps ahead of anything. He's discovering things as the audience is. So he's losing more and more what made Nick Fury cool to me, right? He's the Amanda Waller of the MCU, and he's now just Sam Jackson in an eye patch. So that is becoming more and more frustrating. The more and more we see him, he's becoming less and less of the character that we fell in love with from dating all the way back to Iron Man. I'm trying to think of anything else that grinded. Well, there's scenes in this film that I could have completely taken out of this movie. And yes,
that's one.
Man, international superstar. I know he has his fans and this, that, and the other. That Disney-fied, tangled, frozen scene of them singing and dancing and lollygagging could have been completely erased. Like Thanos blips snap out of the film, and a little bit later, the Flurkins, not because I'm not a cat guy, I don't like cats, I'm a dog guy, but the Flurkins ruined a lot of the momentum of the film. So there are scenes that definitely grind my gears, and those are two of them.
Elliot, are you telling me you didn't get out of your seat and start dancing in the theater when your boy was with the magic? He done snapped his fingers and she done got the dress. Yeah, man, that was I was buying it at first. I honestly didn't mind it at first. I was like, this is like when they first showed up and they was walking down that corridor and they just started singing at the very beginning. I was laughing. I was like, this is kind of silly. It's stupid, but it was working for me. But actually, when they got inside to the ballroom and they showed your boy right here, and Brie Larson changed her dress, I was like, okay, like this is too much now. This is awkward.
They dancing and they
popping. I was just like, this is not working for me. They just ran it too long, and so they could have cut a good 75% of the beginning. It worked for me. You man, like you want to vomit up there. How did you feel about the dance numbers, sir?
Oh, bro,
did you singing and dancing, or did you go to the bathroom doing this time?
I hated every second of it because it felt like such a disruption of what the movie was trying to build up to. And I was just like, do you want me to take this movie like seriously? And I don't mean like it's got to be super mature and super. I don't mean that. I'm saying like, do you want me to believe whatever it is that you're presenting? And don't get me wrong, you can add humor all day. I have no problem with humor.
Yeah.
But my biggest issue has always been like the wacky silliness. And this is very similar to the nonsense that happened with Ant-Man. I have holes, like I'm a dick, like it's like, bro, like these are things that would have been bloopers that you could have added on the side on Disney Plus. And we could have seen it some other day, but it's kind of like you don't need. Like, here's the thing: The funniest parts in the movie that they could have kept in was anything and everything with Kamala Khan. Why? Because that's her character. Her character is not a serious character, so it's okay because you already established that tone in Ms. Marvel. It was cool. Like when they brought in the whole dream, art and everything. I was like, great. That's perfect because that's her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need Nick Fury to be funny. I don't need to go to a planet full of people doing a Disney musical. Like, I was like, did we tune into Aladdin? Like, what is this that we're watching? Because this was just so nonsensical and unnecessary. It was just not necessary at all. So yeah, that part got me. And then of course the whole Flurgan thing, that was just ridiculously
that came out
dumb.
of nowhere.
Don't get me wrong. I understand the logic. I got the logic. Oh, we got to save everybody. But it just felt like one of those things of like, you know what people like? Kittens. You know what are fun? The Flurgan. We've got to put this in the movie some way, somehow, because people like Goose, people love kittens, they're going to get a laugh. And what ends up happening is, sure, you do get that laugh, but it's superficial. And that's why, and this isn't towards Elliot, but I get a little messed up when people talk about the fun, because I'm like, fun don't last with these movies. Fun is not the thing that your movie should be based off of, unless you're Deadpool. Like, unless your character is a comedic character, that's not what's going to make these things work. And that's what this movie did not learn from Thor: Love and Thunder, because them Flurgans to me was just the screaming goats all over again. Haha, yeah, that's funny, but at the end of the day, you're not going home talking about it. You're not going to sit here and be like, man, I can't wait to see those Flurgans all over again. Unless you're like a cat person, I guess. No, man, like all of that silly stuff, it was distracting to a movie that already had editing issues, already had plot issues and stuff. So yeah, they missed me with all that stuff. Now, maybe that works for younger audiences. And if that's the case, cool. I'm happy for them. But as mentioned earlier, the MCU is 15 years in. That means if you started with Iron Man and you were 10 years old, you 25 now. Why are we still playing these little silly games?
I ain't mad at you.
What are we doing?
You know, I agree with you, Eman, 100% about them possibly having a conversation like, what can we insert into the movie to make it funny? Haha, cats. Let's just shoehorn this in. I would bet a lot of money on that. However, the part I disagree with y'all is I actually was amused by it. Like I was sitting there like this, literally in the theater, like, oh, this is so stupid. But I laughed. I got a laugh out of it because they're like, please stop running. It was just funny to me. It was unnecessary. It did not have to be in the film at all. And when you look at it, hindsight, it was a waste of time. You could have used this to do anything else, really. It was 100% unnecessary, but I was not annoyed by it. I was amused. I was annoyed by the Curl in the dress singing, though. That was just awful. But yeah, if the comedy worked for you guys, Ella, you got something else on the tip of your tongue?
No, I just the Flurkins are just are kind of they're products, sell toys.
I ain't mad at you. What did y'all think about Curl and her disrespect? Y'all may disagree, but that was so intrusive for her to read the mind of Monica and make her relive her mom dying or the cancer scene. Mind you, I don't think she's ever experienced. Well, maybe she did, but remember she was blipped. But that was a lot for me. I was like, damn, what are you doing? Stop it! Like, this is so disrespectful. But I'm glad they put it in the film because that is something that was lingering from the previous chapters of the MCU. It was like, what happened to mom? I can't remember her saying that she died of cancer, but Monica was a little girl in 2019. Well, in the 90s. Yeah. About. Then we saw her in WandaVision. She was blipped away. She was here. Her mom was here. She blipped away, came back. Her mom was dead, and we kind of get that closure. And so, I thought that was pretty wild how she intruded and how intrusive she was on her thoughts like that. I just thought that was crossing the line. But Elliot, how'd you feel about it? I just thought that was a big pivotal point in the film for me.
Maybe I misinterpreted that scene. I didn't think she was intruding into her memories. Because she wasn't there to experience her mom and Carol talking, because she was gone when she told her the cancer was back.
Okay.
And when she was like, it should have been you to have been Captain Marvel, which obviously ties into her becoming. We've seen her become Captain Marvel in 838, and we see her as Captain Binary and this other universe that we'll talk about. So yeah, I guess I didn't interpret it that way of her being intrusive. I thought they were all entangling just their thought processes, and it was just a moment.
I could be wrong.
When she thinks of Monica, she thinks of that moment of letting her down, and when she talked to her mother at the in Louisiana, she just feels so bad, and it's just crossing over the thoughts. So again, I didn't take it as her being intrusive. I will say, not to backtrack this conversation, a moment that I never want to see my superhero say. I get you can't always save someone, but when Captain Marvel was on that planet with the Skrulls and they weren't able to save everyone, and when she looked at Miss Marvel and was like, we gotta go, we gotta save. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about heroes giving up like that, especially when you have 3 superpowered beings, Avengers.
Really?
That was a weird scene to me, yeah. Especially when you were teaching a young Avenger to just give up so easily. I don't know if that scene stood out to you. Yeah, I was just like, whoa, I don't know.
Like,
how
look, you say it was
harsh. It was harsh, but I didn't see any other option, So.
The truth, but I just want to see my superheroes to the final drop, to the as Cap says, we die together. We live. I just because I don't think Captain America would have let those people just.
Yeah, and I thought that was really good for Carol's character, because she's not Captain America, right? Like that. This is one of the reasons why in the comics she's not like the other. This is why they had Civil War, the other Civil War, Civil War. Yeah. He's a different type of leader. So I was cool with it. You don't have to agree, but like I was like, that's Carol. She gung ho with it.
How'd you feel about the cancer scene memory?
Oh, I actually really liked it. So I didn't take that as intentional or anything. To me, it was kind of like you're putting on a machine where you guys all share almost the same brain in a sense. And even Carol was like, I couldn't help it, in terms of like thinking. And just imagine how quickly your thoughts and subconscious can work. I mean, it's almost like if I said, don't think about my phone. Like, there's no way you can not think about the phone that I just showed, because your brain just works that fast. So to me, I was just kind of like, okay, this is actually kind of interesting, because the other thing is, and this is as many issues as I had with the editing, this was a positive for me, because I was like, now we're getting that back, the additional context, the scene. I didn't know that Carol had came back before and actually spent time with Maria before, like during the blip. That's actually pretty dope. I was like, wow. So now we have another piece of this whole drama and this rift between, Monica and Carol. And now they all have to deal with it. So it's not like, oh, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. No, everybody gets to see the full picture at the same time. So I thought that was actually pretty creative and unique, so that we can actually get more of that conflict resolved. So I actually really liked that scene. I thought it was really cool. And just to have Kamala there, like everybody's on the same page now. Everybody's like, dang, you went through that. I'm sorry, or like, dang, I didn't know this, or like, man, I didn't try, So this I thought was a very unique way to like do that conflict resolution that you see in other stories, but this was a very comic book way to get it fixed. So I was cool with it.
Okay, y'all let us know what y'all think in that comment section. But staying on you, Eman, how did you feel about the whole resolution, the confrontation, I may say, between Monica and Captain Marvel? Because before they actually met and talked, they met initially after all these years, in Kamala's house or whatever, and it was awkward. But they actually got to talk while they was in the spaceship, and I can really understand Monica's feelings being hurt because she felt like she was abandoned as a child. But at the same time, when I was watching it play out and I heard Carol's response, I was on the fence, like, wow, does Monica, is her anger justified? Like, I mean, should you have been over this by now? What does she really owe you, if anything at all? So do you feel that Monica was justified in her anger, and just like, why don't you come back? Or did Carol owe her anything at all? An explanation, a visit, or like how did you feel there? Because I'm still.
No, I mean, listen, childhood trauma is real. We be grown adults still walking around with childhood trauma. My daddy left me and I didn't, like that.
Yeah.
That still affects. So to me, it was still real for her. But then you have to compound the effect that she also had to lose her mom. Because we ain't never seen Monica's daddy. Where's he at?
Right.
So like you lost your mom. Who knows what your relationship is with your dad if he was ever present? And then the only other person that you knew as like I wouldn't say like maybe a parental figure was Carol.
Sure.
You grew up knowing her, and she was just gone.
Yeah.
And just like, I mean, Monica literally was quoting her stuff that she told her when she was a kid. You said you was gonna come back real soon, and you didn't. And she was treating her like that dad that goes out and for a pack of cigarettes and don't never come back home. Like that was real for her. So no, I had no issues with it. I thought it was real for her. It was something that obviously stuck with her. It was something that she had never really processed, on top of the fact that she was blipped. I mean, that in itself is also something you got to live with, that you missed 5 years of your life. You missed the death of your mother. You missed what you didn't even know, that the person that you were waiting for did come back. Like, there's so much stuff to process. But like I said, this was the part of the movie that I actually thought was pretty meaningful, because it was something that, dealt with the characters internally. And it was like, this is kind of like what I want to see in terms of building up characters. Now I do wish that maybe the rift between them had been teased a little bit more, maybe like in some way, maybe during Endgame. It would have been nice for for Carol to just say something like, yo, like, anybody seen Monica? Like, just something to kind of keep teasing us to be like, hey, this is something that we have to revisit. Because I think all we got was really WandaVision, and even that wasn't really very much until the very end. But no, I was fine with it for what it was in this movie.
Okay, so very, very good point. Well said about Monica's feelings being justified. You laid that out quite well. But on the flip side, was Carol still wrong for not showing up? What, you can give me a quick yes or no.
Oh,
you feel that she was still wrong?
By
not coming back to visit her as a child or a teenager or a young adult or anything.
I see. Well, wrong or not, she was saving other planets.
Okay.
She was saving other species. She was doing all these things that we never see, off screen. So it's one of those things where, like, again, this is Captain Marvel's weakness. She can't be everywhere, at once. Because let me go visit, my little niece. Oh, but a whole planet's finna die and explode.
Gotcha.
What do you do? So I wouldn't say that she's wrong, because it's one of those things where, like, let's say if Monica knew why she couldn't come back, like, for X amount of years, she probably would have been like, I understand, but it's just a way to create drama. So I would not say that Carol was wrong, because again, we don't really know what she was doing. Also, if she was chilling somewhere and for years, okay, now I'd be like, that'd be bogus. But I'm gonna assume she was always busy. I'm just gonna assume that.
Where you at, Elliot?
No, I think for both points, I think Monica had every right to be upset with her aunt, because it was, she, like she said in the movie, you changed my diapers the one time or whatever, she didn't do it. So this is her auntie, this is family. And the fact, when you don't have family to count on, especially considering, I think Monica, at least for being caught up to speed, when she gets recruited to go to Saber at the end of WandaVision, like, she probably knows all the stuff that Carol has done over maybe certain years, especially now with her affiliation with Nick Fury. So it's just like, damn, you could do all this stuff, marrying people on the planets, but you can't pay me a visit to, me grieving my mom. And even though I think the movie hints at, when we're in Carol's ship by herself, she has, like, she's been keeping tabs on her. She had the little newspaper clippings and stuff. So she's been, like, from a distance looking after her. And maybe I wouldn't be surprised if she probably told, and this is again that subtext and stuff that could have been in the movie, she had Nick Fury checking in on her every now and then. Of course, we're not going to get a big montage of that, but maybe a line or two. But I just assume that Carol has been looking after her in her own way. But again, I do feel like Monica had every reason to be upset all these years. And then on the reverse of it all, what was the other question about Captain Marvel?
Was she wrong? Was she wrong?
I want to say she's wrong, but I think a couple occasional check-ins would have been helpful. Like the fact that this is her first time seeing her since she was probably a kid is a little bit unexcusable in my opinion, especially when she was on Earth after Endgame. Like, she not pay her visit after the funeral of Tony Stark. So there's probably moments she could have checked in just to say hi or something of that nature. So yeah, I think she could have made time. Like I said, if she had time to marry a dude on a whole other planet, she could have had time to check on her niece.
You know what? I think I'm gonna change my answer because I forgot that she was following up, looking. She got the pictures of her growing up.
Right.
It's not like she only had that one little moment and that was it. Yeah, she could have zoomed.
She could have.
You know what I'm saying? She could have called.
Yeah,
she could have done. She could have sent a space raven.
Dr. Strange, hey man, listen, man. I know we worked together one time, but can you send my niece portal flowers,
people back and forth?
I would appreciate it.
She could have done something. So yeah, I'm gonna change my position. She was wrong. She was wrong because there's no reason why Carol couldn't have contacted, Monica. Like there's literally no reason she couldn't have.
She was in another reality. She was in another universe. She was yeah.
I mean, you got an intergalactic pager and everything. You couldn't have made another one for it. Yeah, Carol's bogus. Yeah,
she's bogus.
She's bogus.
If there's anything else that you guys really didn't care for in the film, we can always come back. But since we are talking about Carol now, and Eman, you did say, because this is one of the reasons why you did like Carol, Captain Marvel, in this film is the mistakes that she's made, and we're talking about one now is transitioning over to the good. I love Carol, Captain Marvel. I love Miss Marvel. I love Monica Rambeau. Like I said at the beginning, as individuals and as a group. But specifically right now, talking about Carol, is I did like the way how flawed she was, and she was just unsure of herself. She did not have any confidence or the level that she had in the 2019 film or Endgame. Endgame, she came through, boom, 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 blowing up everything.
She said, I'll kill Thanos. I'll be right back. I'll kill Thanos. Like,
she did that was nowhere to be seen because she realized that she is the reason why there was a civil war between the Kree. Mm-hmm. She was trying to do something good, but it made it worse. Right. And she feels bad about that. It was one scene in particular when they were on her little spaceship station thing, and they was trying to come up with the plan, and she was actually panicking, like, "Oh, okay, is that the plan? Is that what we're going to go with? Okay, sure, whatever you said." And I was just like, "Whoa, this is new." And also goes to your point, Eman, of that she is not Captain America, even though she's 50,000 times more powerful than pretty much everybody is on the team. No shade, Captain Rogers, no shade. But I really did like how flawed her character was and how unsure of herself she was. Y'all have anything to add to that or take away? Or any other highlights, positives about Captain Marvel?
She's a human. We got to remember that she has the powers, but she still is a human. And to Eman's point, that's what I liked about this film more so than I did the first one, is they gave her flaws. They made her a human. They gave her personality. Like Brie Larson does have personality. She can crack jokes. She can be fun. And we saw that in this film. I don't know what the hell they were sipping on in the first one. Like, they made her so just one note and just didn't have dimensions or layers or depth, but they gave her a little bit. I'm not saying she's the most fleshed out character in this movie, but they gave her more to do. And I think that's really due to having, Monica and Kamala kind of helping that character be a little bit more joyful and have a little bit more personality and have more things to actually look at from a character. So I do like this Carol more so than I do in the first one in the Endgame. And yeah, man, I really like that they gave her something to do and to play with in this film.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much on that same level with it. Like, I like the fact that we got to see a different leadership style from her. I like the fact that, she had to learn something from the other two characters, from Monica and from Kamala. Like, she, they was like, you ain't never lead no team before. You've been out here solo dolo for years, do your own thing. Like, you ain't got no plans, so like, I like the fact that they're doing these things because that's character development, right? Like, Even though I felt it was a little contrived, a little forced to kind of make us feel for her in terms of, oh, they call me the Annihilator, and I'm like, you've been annihilating a whole lot of people. You know what I'm saying? You ain't shed no tears over Thanos' army. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't, and the Kree deserved it. So either way, I'm still sitting here thinking to myself that like Carol's character is not the same as she was before, as she will be moving forward, and that's always a positive thing. We want our characters to at least grow, at least in a somewhat positive way. And I think we got that from this film with her. And I'm eager to see what happens with her. Like, what's her next challenge? What's her next thing? Because now it's kind of like, all right, Carol, you got to learn how to play nice with folks. Like, you got to learn how to be a different type of leader. Because like you mentioned earlier, B, about the whole leaving some of the people to die and the Skrulls and stuff like that. She had to figure that out from Kamala's reaction. Because Kamala's looking at her like, you the hero. And you gonna do that? Bree was, or Carol was kind of like, ooh.
Yeah,
like,
and the acting from Kamala was good too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't believe I'm here and I'm experiencing this.
Right.
She didn't mean to go there. She was, teleported to another planet. Yeah. This is all new to her. Like, whoa, I was just at my mama house. Now I'm across the galaxy and I got green people and space wizards falling. This is a lot, and so she was really paralyzed in fear. And also about Carol being a leader, just the way she gives directions. At the beginning of that battle, she's screaming at Kamala, save the people and don't use your powers. What?
Right.
How did I even get here? Like, what is this? So she has to look. Can you imagine just doing this review right now? You end up on
we're in the middle, right, fighting Thanos. What?
What is going on? So that was interesting right there. So they did Carol some justice. I'm eager to see what the haters are saying. But the person that stole the show is this young lady. Right here. 100%. Man, I love her character so much. I loved her in the Miss Marvel show. I loved her even more. Everything about her was just genuine, true, innocent, and pure. And I would hang out with this person. Seriously, I said in my non-spoiler review that if her family was having a kickback barbecue, I would drop let's skip the 4-star, 5-star dinner. Let's go here because we're gonna be pulling up and kicking it in the backyard, having a good time. I loved it. And one of the things is on top of that is the family as well. Like, Kamala is a child superhero. Okay, nobody else other than Peter Parker is a minor at a young age, and so usually people just suit up and go save the day, go save the earth. No, she's like, I don't care if you have superpowers. You are still my baby. Nick Fury, where's my little girl? Where's my daughter? I am scared. Okay. Like, I am terrified. Like, she may just be an employee, a special asset to you, but this is my daughter. This is my niece, whatever, my sister. So I love that aspect of Kamala in this film, her as an individual, the family. And of course we can talk about the fight scene too. But she was magnificent in this movie, and I want Kamala to win so much because she really did breathe life into this movie. Elliot, where are you at on that?
Yeah, no, man, I said in my review, she's on that. If there's enough room to put Mount Rushmore, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., and Chadwick Boseman, like those perfect casting. Put Iman Vellani on that mountain to me. Like, she is just perfect in this role. She's us. We would be those characters if we were put in the position. Like, oh, you're she is so much fun. And like you said, be the family element. She's the one only character in the MCU that I could just think of off top that the family is so like in entanglement. Like, that is part of her personality and part of her character is the love and the care and the, everything that comes with the culture of her family, that it has been really handled well in the MCU so far. Telling you, if we ever get back to those darker moments, man, that's going to be a heartbreak if something happens to one of those. I'm talking from her mom or dad or big brother. That's going to be a Endgame and Infinity War all over again if something happens to them. So I think she's great. And like I kind of mentioned with her lifting up Tiana Paris being a part of this too, but she really does bring out the fun in Captain Marvel. Like, I think they tried to do that with Doctor Strange. I still think he's one of the. I love Benedict Cumberbatch as an actor, but his Doctor Strange just hasn't worked for me yet. They tried to do that with America Chavez and have like someone youthful and to bring him up, it still didn't work. So I think Captain or Miss Marvel is just phenomenal. She's great. And based on that post-credit scene, or the not post-credit scene, but near the end, I'm really excited to see her putting the band together with the young Avengers. But the question is, by the time we see them, they ain't gonna be young no more. They're just gonna be Avengers.
Man, where you at on Kamala and her family and just her whole involvement in the
So yeah, I mean, like, if you like the Marvel, Ms. Marvel, this is perfect because I felt like they just naturally slipped them right in to this movie. Like nobody missed a beat. The dad was the same, the brother was the same, the mom was the same. Like everything was like a natural fit. So like, unlike when I talked about how Secret Invasion Nick Fury felt out of character in this movie, like everybody that's related to Kamala, like they were fine, So I love that aspect of them. They never bothered me or annoyed me, because the mom, like, she was the mom, like, like, I don't care if you're going out in space, like, I'm gonna kill you if you go mess up over it. Like, don't do it. So no, I like
that too. Like, I'm gonna
kill. That was cool. But like Kamala to me was always like the best part of this because she was always consistent within her character. When she's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and all that stuff, being around her favorite, superhero of all time, geeking out and everything. And like you guys said, like she is us, like the commentary that she makes is stuff that we would probably say, if we were that age. So I thought that she was perfect in that aspect. I laughed very hard at the end where she was pretending to be, Nick Fury.
That's such a good scene.
Was like,
that's probably
this is what she would do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm gonna say that scene.
Yeah, man.
But like, and by the way, let me just also say, because I know we're talking about Kamala, but Teyonah Parris, I loved what she did. I just love the fact that they made Monica so brilliant. Like she was the one that was explaining all the electromagnetic fusion of lights and quirks and neurons. I was like, go ahead, girl. Like, like she knows her stuff. I loved it. She wasn't just somebody with random powers. No, she a nerd. She a nerd. She knows her stuff, and I loved it. Every single second of it. I mean, we saw some of that in WandaVision as well, but I just love the fact that they showcased that on the big screen. She knew what she was talking about, and she don't need no nickname. She Photon, but she don't need no nickname.
And she just she apparently learned how to fly in this too.
Black Girl Magic.
Black Girl Magic. I forgot that she can do that.
Not from him. Not from him. Like it'd be different if somebody else said it, but not from Nick Fury. Like, why are you cracking jokes?
Also, like the end, they went Ray all the way comic book with her costume. She had to rip off the little I don't know, the cloth or whatever. And I'm kind of glad they did that. But
got the white eyes and everything too. Loved it. Loved it. I was like, that's it. That's my Photon. Yes.
With but real quick, staying on Kamala, I love the way she was geeking out. I love the comic strip opening, just kind of explaining her. I love the intro of the movie, kind of giving a brief rundown of everything that happened in Miss Marvel and also Captain Marvel. But besides Kamala, one of the things that I liked the most in the movie, and you touched on it earlier a little bit, Eman, before, is their entangled powers and them trying to figure that out. They did get a nice handle on it quick, just by using common sense, process of elimination. So that was really fascinating, going into your point that Monica was able to figure it out. Like, I think because of this, and then we touched the jump things and the light bending powers. I loved all that. But the montage of them training with the jump rope and the double dutch and throwing of the ball on the ship and them catching it. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. It was perfect. I loved it. That was top 3 moments in the whole movie for me. Just that whole sequence and just them geeking out. I think you said that was a favorite point for you too, Eman?
Oh yeah. That just again, they had an issue. They had to figure it out. The tag teaming and the coordinate. I'm like, great. Like this wasn't something that y'all just figured out overnight.
Figured out,
Clearly,
right?
you had to work
It's not
at it.
Gaia knowing how to use all her powers for the first
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Like, you know, even Monica, you know, learning how to fly. She's like, look. I don't know how to do that yet, but I still got the impression that she's tried it, but it's just she wasn't confident in it. So, you know, even that was an upgrade compared to Captain Marvel in the first movie, where she literally never knew how to fly, and then all of a sudden she just could fly just because she was falling. Like that to me was like not earned. But in that situation, even with the double dutch, the juggling and all that, I was like, good. Like, I'm fine with y'all working at it, you know, having a little fun at the same time.
Right.
I liked it. I thought that was genuine. It felt like what the characters would naturally do, you know. So I was down with that.
Just to hop in real quick before I give it to you, Elliot, on the same topic. I've always said this, man, for a good superhero comic book film, you have to have the characters show a full display of all their powers and abilities, you know, given their skill set and the story. And I felt that we got that with all the characters. Like, I got to see all of the powers and all their abilities. And a part of that was in that montage sequence. But Elliot, how'd you feel about that, man? And was that also a highlight for you too?
Yeah, just like you guys said, it's showing them working together. It reminded me very much so of taking them back to No Way Home, Parker 1, Parker 2, you know, the scientist moments, you know, nerding out moments. So yeah, it's great to see characters. It's comic book going back to, because I don't know if we talked about necessarily Nia DaCosta, and not everything was perfect, but it is so much on her plate from not just tell this story, be a sequel to Captain Marvel, be a season 2 to Miss Marvel, continue Monica's story, I really like that Nia had a moment like that, to have the heroes bonding over that, like little small things to that. And hearing how she's talking about X-Men and stuff, I personally would love to see Nia maybe get another opportunity to do another film, because I think she had moments of brilliance. I think she's a great director even before this film. I still think she's had better other projects she's done. But shout out to Nia DaCosta, man. Just having that little moment with these characters was something that definitely stood out to me for sure.
Right on. This is a quick one. When they was on Saber, they were talking to the giant black guy, or I can't remember who was talking to him. He said he was 306 years old. What was he? Was he a Skrull?
Probably a Skrull.
Just a black guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I don't know why he couldn't just be in the Skrull form.
But I was kind of confused by that.
Budget.
We only have a couple of things to talk about, unless there's something on y'all's chest that y'all want to get off. Because we got the mid-credit scene and then the Kate Bishop thing. What else have we not talked about that we need to talk about? I think there's like one more thing.
I wish the final battle was not on a ship, because it was just visually just kind of stale. I wish it was like it doesn't have to be again world ending. We've seen the bubble in the sky, light beam in the sky, but I wish it was a little bit more aesthetically pleasing on the final battle, because that just seemed a little bit anticlimactic on fight on a ship.
Okay.
Even though this isn't a critique, it would have been kind of dope, since they're dealing with all these portals and stuff, if they were like jumping fighting from planets to planets.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been an interesting way to kind of spice up the visuals a little bit. But, you know, I know what you mean.
And that is one thing I wanted to bring up. The whole I mean, we originally saw this in Guardians 2 with the space jumping. I mean, I think that's just incredible incredible writing to explain how you can go across the galaxy super fast, because even if you travel at the speed of light 7 times around the planet in 1 second, it's still going to take you tens of billions of years to cross the whole observable universe, even the galaxy. You know, I was watching Neil deGrasse Tyson speaking to some other astrophysicists. He asked her, he's like, so if just our galaxy, the Milky Way, he's like, how much of our Milky Way galaxy have we explored with the technology that we have right now? The lady laughed and was like, imagine if the whole ocean and the whole planet is our galaxy. We've only explored an 8-ounce glass of water, you know? And so that's just ridiculously crazy large to wrap your head around. But the time, the jumping of the space jumping thing kind of helps, you know, make that more manageable. But yeah, I think that's you know, Photon got her powers at the end. That was cool. Her power up. She got the power of Kamala and Captain Marvel and the bangles and all that, and she's super duper now. I don't know how powerful she is. Elliot, Eman, like, you know, compared to any other super duper galactic people, you know, where is Photon at? You know, and as far as power scaling is concerned, is she more powerful than Captain Marvel now? The same, less? You know, where do you know? I don't. I know. Excuse me. I just know she got an upgrade.
I feel like at this point they're trying to put them all three on the same level. But I would say on paper, Photon should be more powerful just because she literally can just take on the form of energy. Like she can absorb it, she can shoot it, she can manipulate it. Like on paper, she should be like, you know, Omega level, you know, because it's energy. Like what else? What else you got? You know, she can phase herself, she can convert herself, like you know, whatever Captain Marvel want to shoot at her, she can literally take it and just be like, nah, this is mine now. You know, so I would say Photon, but I think the MCU wants them all to be kind of even in that regard.
Gotcha. Okay. Ella, you can add on to that if you want, or just tell us how excited you were to see Miss Kate Bishop pop up, man. Your favorite character in the whole wide world. No, I'm teasing, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, she saved Hawkeye from being a complete disaster because she was the, you know, one of the saving grace. But no, the Photon of it all, I'm really excited to see more of Tiana Paris's acting ability, but also I don't know if her being in this other planet it affects her powers or whatever the case may be. But yeah, as far as Kate Bishop, Eman touched on it, that callback from, and also I love when movies do a callback, the intel, just like some of the smalls, like the intel. Now she got intel of someone and showing it to Kate Bishop, but yes, I love kind of the recreation of a sense of the first Iron Man where Nick Fury recruited Tony Stark, so that was great. And yes, Kate Bishop, Haley Steinfeld in general, I always love her screen presence. She just fits like a shoe in anything she's in, and having her bouncing off of Kamala is something I'm really excited of. Throw in Yelena, throw in, you know, Peter Parker. Like I am excited. Hopefully it's going to be sooner rather than later. We get to see more of these young Avengers because we've been building the boys from WandaVision, Eli from Falcon and Winter Soldier, Kid Loki, Cassie Lang. So like they've been building it. But again, my fear is we don't even have Avengers. When are we going to see the young Avengers? But the prospect gets me excited. I just don't know when we're going to see them again.
E-Man. Kate Bishop, Young Avengers.
What was
that? Kate Bishop, Young Avengers.
Kate.
Yeah.
Was
you messing with me?
No, it was fine.
Okay. I got you.
I was not a big fan of Hawkeye. Like I just did not care about Hawkeye. Like
God, I don't get it, but it's all good.
One of the worst Disney Plus shows for me.
Oh my God.
So I was sitting there looking, I was like, oh, okay. Like I don't care about Hawkeye. I was like, y'all gonna get the Young Avengers going. So in my mind, I kept thinking of who else are we gonna get? Okay, we're gonna get the Patriot with you know, whatchamacallit's son, or you know, from Falcon and Winter Soldier. You know, we finna get the WandaVision evil twin kids or whatever. We're gonna get them. Like that's what I was thinking. But yeah, that was it. I was having more fun with, you know, Kamala doing the little Nick Fury impersonation. It didn't really matter who she was talking to for me.
I eventually want to see Young Avengers, but not right now.
Ain't gonna be young forever though.
Yeah, they need to hurry up with that if they really try to do it.
They're gonna have the
Kate Bishop's already 23,
right?
There's so much more I would rather see before this. So I wasn't upset when she popped up, but I wasn't hopping up and down. And also, just real quick, a funny line Kamala made when she was like, "Yeah, we have intel," and she was like, "Oh, on this little iPad, why is it clear or transparent or something?" Like I got out of that or whatever. But guys, the last thing that we are going to talk about is this mid-credit scene. There's only one. There was not a post. It was a mid, and I did not know what the hell was going on at first. I was like, "Wait a minute, is Monica dead? She's right next to her mother. What is going on?" And that's really the question, because they showed us Beast from the X-Men universe, 20th Century Fox, now 20th Century Studios. I don't know why they went the CGI route, because that did not look good. But when Monica was saving the day, trying to close the space jump portal, she was transported to another universe. What the hell is going on? We got Beast. We also have I forgot her name. What the other
Binary.
Rainbow? Yeah, I can't remember. And they also okay, Binary. And they also mentioned Charles Xavier. Now, is this another universe, or is this the same universe from Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness? Whoever want to grab it first, I'll give my 2 cents. Well, I'll go ahead and give it now. I was excited at first, but I'm not now. I am worried. This is just too much for me. They doing time travel and time branch timelines and multiverse stuff, and I was let down with Multiverse of Madness. It's too much. It just seems like too much, and I just don't have faith in Marvel right now that they'll be able to execute. I want them to, but when I was driving home, I was thinking about the scene, and I was saying to myself, "Slow your roll, Marvel. Slow your roll." I'm gonna give it to E-Man. How'd you feel about the mid-credit scene, sir?
I think, had this been part of the actual movie, it would have saved the movie, or at least done something for it. But I can't count it because it's not technically part of the movie itself. But it was definitely one of those things that answered more questions than raised them, I think, which is, okay, we know clearly X-Men are coming. We got Beast. You got Binary. Clearly, they are in a different universe. We kind of already knew that just from Patrick Stewart's, cameo in Doctor Strange 2. The X-Men exist, but they just don't exist in the MCU 616. We don't have that mutant history. If anything, Kamala's like the only mutant, and Namor. Those are the only ones we actually know. But there's no formal organization called the X-Men or anything like that in the 616. So we don't know what universe they're in. My assumption is that maybe they're in whatever universe Deadpool is in, because Deadpool is the one that is still in that Fox X-Men universe-ish thing, and this also goes into the other idea of, since we are in phase 5, and phase 5 is the multiverse phase, with Kang Dynasty and all that. You already had Deadpool playing around with time travel and stuff. So the fact that he was messing with time, you got the TVA. Who knows what's about to happen in Loki? And maybe Loki will connect some things. Possibly, we'll see later on. But yeah, I was just like, all right, cool. Like, this is where the X-Men live. That's all I need to know. At this point, because one way or another, I think that we're going to come across all these different universes. Eventually, y'all gonna come together. And this is really just a big, I don't know, analogy or whatever, or allegory for what's happening outside in the real world. Marvel's got all these different threads. They got the Netflix universe, they got the Fox universe, they got the Sony universe, with Marvel. They got the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. universe, which doesn't count, but maybe now it will. And then they got the MCU 616. They got all these different things that are existing at the same time, and they have to find a way to just bring them all together. So I think right now with this movie, just like with Doctor Strange, we're going to visit these other places, see that they exist in some way, shape, or form. But at some point, they're going to have to bring them together because, like you said, it can get confusing. And yeah, so I'm cool with it. And I like the CGI. I thought it was fine with Beast. I'm a fan of Kelsey Grammer. I thought he was way better than what was it, Nicholas Hoult or whatever, that played Beast in First Class and all that. So I was cool with it. It allows us to keep Kelsey Grammer in here longer than the practical effects that they had in the previous movies.
Oh God, Elliot, I want you to address that too. Practical or CGI when it comes to Beast, Kelsey Grammer. But yeah, man, how'd you feel about the mid-credit scene?
Yeah, no, it's so initially we see her waking up. I like that emotional moment. Like, she didn't care what she was, she just saw her mom. So I love that moment for her, even though it wasn't her mom that we know. But yeah, I knew that this wasn't 838 because when he says Charles Xavier, we already know that Charles Xavier is dead. So it can't be that universe. And then I don't know if it's in Deadpool's universe, because when we saw Deadpool, I think Deadpool 2, when he opens the door, the Beast in that world was Nicholas Holt's Beast and not Kelsey Grammer's Beast. Okay. So I think this is a whole new universe that we've never visited before. And I don't know if we'll ever revisit it again.
It's okay if we don't.
But another reason, as far as like differentiation, just making the difference of Kelsey Grammer's Beast, like I think that was a visual representation that this isn't the X-Men Beast because he is all CGI versus the practicality. So I think that might have been a little bit intentional, even though if it didn't look that good to you, I think that was just like their visual representation. Like this isn't that Beast. This is another looking version of Beast. But yeah, I'm interested to see what it means, because as far as the MCU and the TVA have established, you know, she's not on her timeline, she's not in her universe, so this is potentially can cause an incursion. So again, the question is when will we revisit that? I doubt that we'll see it in tonight's version of our finale of Loki, because we know this film was shot, and we all know, as we talked about Secret Invasion, like the map is all over the place. I don't think there's going to be any continuity of what happened in this film tying to Loki, but Deadpool 3 could address it. Of course, Secret Wars, I would imagine would, or even King Dynasty. So yeah, we'll see, man. And I don't know if because Carol seemed pretty like when she comes back, I don't know. I would have thought she would have been like, we need to look for her. Hey, Doctor Strange. Hey, this, that, and the other. So maybe that is something that they should have done, is make her have a little bit more sense of urgency to look for Carol or Monica in another universe instead of her. Oh, she'll figure it out.
Yeah, they was a little too nonchalant. Y'all acting like she ain't dead, or
you just assume she's alive. Yeah,
when she comes back.
Right.
Hilarious.
That was a little bit of a drop the ball, an emotional beat there. But no, I am excited to see what they do with this and what this means, because we know none of the post-credit scenes for Phase 4 have come to fruition. We have Shang-Chi's post-credit scene that we don't know what's going on. Hey, I don't know. That would have been a good idea for Captain Marvel to call Shang-Chi. She got a bangle. Let's get someone with some rings. And so none of these things are connecting at all. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if this post-credit scene has any fruition in the next 10 years.
Wait a minute. These doors opened from one bangle.
Yeah.
Kamala got 2.
She got 2.
Why the hell y'all not banging them things
banging up? Them things, yep.
And opening them doors?
Man, I don't know. And also, you gotta
go
that far.
Be banging, just be opening portals like this. Just bang, bang, bang.
I'm just saying, like, open up the door.
I mean, we don't even got to do that.
Hold on.
Bang,
Why the hell
bang.
Monica got to be the one to sacrifice herself? Like, you got the whole clandestine right there with the 2 bangles. She should be able to open them and close them.
In the WandaVision, she jumped in front of the white people.
She's the savior. She is,
What are you doing? Stop it.
Why you got to go on the other side to close the door?
I was thinking the same.
Why couldn't you just
pull it in? Yeah, just reverse it and pull.
It took Captain Marvel forever to get there.
I was gonna tell that little girl, Kamala,
like,
hey, use them bangles.
She was flying.
Close that little portal right there. Why? I don't like this now. Nope.
Oh man,
I don't like how they doing my girl Monica. Nope.
All right, rating time. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah, 7.5. I was thinking about dropping it to a 7. But I mean, I have fun with the main leads, man, and Kamala. Like, I mean, I left satisfied. You know, I'm gonna leave it at a 7.5. Elliot, Eman.
I was at I do the 5 scale, so I was at a 3 out of 5, which I guess would translate to like a 7 as well, or maybe would it be a 6.5?
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a 3 out of 5 on my rating. I had, again, the F word. I have fun with it. From what they were able to give us. Of course, there was a lot of things that could have been executed better. We talked about it in this breakdown, but it, like Brandon, I wanted it to be better than Captain Marvel, which is obviously a low bar, but it was better than that, and it was better than some like other films that we mentioned earlier. So I'll take what we can get. But again, this isn't going to be this isn't the film that's going to bring everyone together. Marvel's back.
No,
you take what you get out of it. But I think the Deadpool 3 is going to be that film that everyone's looking forward to.
It was much more bad than good. It was better than this.
Yes.
Yes, it was better than this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Was it better than this?
Slightly.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
And was it better than this?
Yes, to me.
Okay. What wasn't better than this though?
No.
Okay. Yeah, we all in agreement. E-Man.
Listen, I got it at 6.5.
6.5. Okay.
6.5. Like, but again, like I said, you know, if it were me watching this and it was only me to consider, I'd probably have it at like a 5.5.
Oh man,
because this is not a movie that I'm going to remember. It's not a movie I'm going to call back to. It's not a movie that if it comes on, I'm going to want to rewatch it. Like, all those kind of factors matter, for me. But I cannot I can't call myself a critic, judge a movie, and ignore the impact that it'll have on other people, because I don't think that that's fair, because every movie is not for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might not like it, but that doesn't disqualify what the movie intended to do. It's like somebody saying Black Panther is crap, but they're not black. Like, you're being disingenuous if you say that this movie had no cultural impact, for Black Panther. So that's what I'm trying to say. So for me, I'm trying to take into consideration that younger audiences and female audiences will take something more from this than I would. So that's the reason why I'm saying this is not complete trash, because I understand and I've heard other people walk away from this way more positive than I did. So that's why I'm like, yeah, it's a 6.5. It's not something I'm gonna go back to, but I understand why other people will like this more and walk away from it differently than I would.
And just in general, that's why I love the subjectivity of it all, because we all look at things different, and that's what's up. I respect that. I look at it different, but that's how you do it. I can rock with it. Real quick before we head out of here, Elliot, how much money this gonna make? Because we talked about that last time you showed up on the show. I think you said no more than like 400, 450
for the total accumulation
worldwide. I know I said 700, but that was only if it was better than the first Captain Marvel. Actually, I said universally everybody has to be walking out of the movie loving it or saying that it was great. That's not the case, but it is positive right now. This is Thursday evening. Oh, it went back down.
Oh, damn.
Oh my goodness. It was at 53. Then earlier today it was at 62. Now it dropped down back to 59. Oh, wow. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say
this is cumulative. So once it goes on Disney Plus, I'm
gonna say 610.
610. Okay.
Worldwide, 610. That's my bet right now.
I don't think it's gonna pass 5.
Yeah.
Unless, look, I don't know the China effect. If China,
the gentleman that's he's a big superstar. I mean, that's
so
like
if they love it, that would be the only X factor.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, because this feels like a byproduct of whatever brainstorming that was happening during Ant-Man 3 and Thor: Love and Thunder. Like, we're not going to get out of that until maybe Deadpool. And I'm still nervous about Captain America 4.
Yeah,
because that was still a byproduct of that stuff too. Thunderbolts, who knows? Like, until Blade come through, I don't think anything's really gonna get right. Outside of Deadpool. Like,
I think it'll make more than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, because I just think everybody's saying that it's better than that. It's not gonna make this much. That's Guardians 3. So I'm gonna stick with that 610. Elliot, your best educational guess.
I'm going 450, man. I don't think it's going to get Ant-Man levels, because the thing that Ant-Man didn't have that this film has, unfortunately, there are people that literally will not watch this because of women's in it, black director. So like that, Ant-Man didn't even have to handle. Like, Ant-Man didn't have, that wasn't. It's of course the black, Kang's in it and whatever the case would be, but it doesn't have like this film. And I'm just using for my example. Comment sections I've seen, some of the fear of X on Twitter I've seen. There's people that will literally not give this film a chance at all. So I think it has a huge uphill battle to climb to even get to the Ant-Man levels, which was what, 476? I think 450, man. 450.
450. Okay.
Yeah.
So Elliot's at 450, Eman is at 5. And I'm at 6.
I said it won't go past 5.
Past 5.
Won't go past 5.
I think it's gonna make 400.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and one more thing, generous. The crazy thing about that is the first one, I think they're 450 its opening weekend, because of obviously we know what it came out at. So this goes to show you 4 years ago how much the comic book genre has changed. So yeah.
And I do feel bad.
Everybody's gonna make a bill. No,
I hope it doesn't add to the whole thing that women can't sell.
Conversation of that.
I don't like that for this.
Right.
But this is a byproduct of what's been happening with the MCU and overall.
And overall, yeah. Yeah.
You know what else is interesting is this is at 59, but the first movie was at 79.
79, yeah.
So
Different
that's
space, different time. People were more
Yeah. Expectations change a lot.
changed so much.
Like, you have to think about how one of the worst movies in the MCU for a long time was Thor 2.
Thor 2.
You know, and I
And
think that
Iron
was
Man
at a
2.
60 or something.
Yeah.
But like, as time has gone on,
Yeah.
our expectations have changed. So, and I'm saying this too for the audience, because some people might go back and say, well, you thought that Captain Marvel was a 7, but you saying this movie is better than that. Like, the ratings are going to change because time is going to change. Our expectations are going to change. You know what I'm saying? So like, we're going to judge things a little bit differently over time, because that's just kind of the flow of how all this works, you know. So yeah, Thor 2 is looking a lot shinier now.
Yeah, man.
Compared to the stuff that we got.
Yeah.
Compared to what we expect from the
Yeah.
MCU.
Yeah.
You know, but that's just how this goes.
I got you, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is going to wrap it up for this epic dynamic trio of the spoilers review for the Marvel Cinematic Universe 33rd film, The Marvels. Yes, yes, yes. We really do appreciate you joining us during this recording. Let us know what you think down in that comment section below, whether you agree with us, you disagree, or you're somewhere in the middle. We are going to read all the comments and have a good time engaging with you guys in the chat. I also want to thank my guests so much for coming through and lending me their time. I really do appreciate it, man. It means the world. Starting with you, Eman, what do you have going on in your world on your lovely channel for all the good people out there to look forward to?
Well, every Friday night, y'all know what it is. You come through, join the E-Fam, subscribe, and you could join one of the best live chats on all of YouTube. And we will go over a lot of the news from the week. Right now, we're finishing up our coverage on Loki as well. So, you know, if you like Loki, if you like, we're going to probably have to jump on to another show right after that. But yeah, you could definitely come and get caught up on everything. I'll do my best to explain what's been going on in the movie world, television world, keep you up to date with all that. And yeah, we have a good time every week. So please come on through.
Alrighty, man. And again, thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. Elliot, thank you for being here, sir. Why don't you let all the good people know what they have to look forward to on your lovely channel as well, sir?
Yeah, man. Well, look, I think we've been doing this since 2021, I think, man. So it's always fun to catch up with y'all, man, talking Marvel, DC, you know, we've done it all. So it's always fun to catch up with y'all, man. But yeah, as far as on the YouTube space, man, this is, you know, for us critics, we have, this is the for your consideration time of the year. So we can get in a lot of these Oscar-worthy films in the next couple of weeks. So definitely keep an eye out for, if you're into those type of movies, independent, award-winning type of films. I got a lot of coverage coming up soon. Jumping back to the superhero realm, we're all big fans of Invincible, so keep an eye out for content around that. And yeah, man, just start trying to keep up with all the stuff, especially now as we're recording this just 24 hours ago. The actors are going back to work, so we will be hearing a lot of news, movie news, casting news, all that stuff. Not to throw this off, but I would not be surprised come Monday morning when those results of Captain Marvel comes out, we might hear some fantastic forecasting to kind of shift the conversation. So keep an eye out for that. And I bring that up because I don't have a great after show like Eman and Brandon does, but I do like to do little short form content of like giving you all my ideas of some of those casting news that we'll be getting here soon. So if you like all that stuff, check me out.
Right on, man. And again, thank you so much. Do appreciate it. I'm up here last minute trying to pull together some thumbnails and all that, but ran out of time. But subscribe to my channel as well. If this is your first time here, your boy would really, really appreciate it. This is the type of stuff that you're going to get as well. I got the movie reviews, spoiler movie reviews, what you're doing right now. Gonna have some martial art movie reviews, series reviews, superhero comic book show each week. The movie news roundup is coming back. And of course, I'm covering Power, but Loki season 2, man, tonight is the season finale. Hopefully they will stick the landing. Please, please, please do not have a horrible ending like you did with Secret Invasion. That would really, really break my heart. But yeah, check out Loki. Check out my non-spoiler review if you just want to help your boy get a view. Here's the last thumbnail of my last super duper show. And also check out me and E-Man's recap of season 2, episode 1 of Invincible. I'm covering that as well. And I think that is also new trailer just came out for The Last Airbender. I reacted to it. I just got to make a thumbnail. That's going to be popping up tonight as well. And yeah. So guys, again, we just all want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that I'm B. Avery. That's E-Man and Elliot. That's just our opinion. Peace out. And we'll see you next time.